As promised, on the heels of yesterday's whaling video where I joined in unexpectedly, we are back but in a different game. You saw the title of the video, you already know, but what's interesting about this video is that I've been sitting on 200-ish pulls in Genshin for a while, not playing all that much, and one of the things I had my sights set on was the Fire Archon. Mavuika?
Yeah, Mavuika,
Yeah. I don't know how to. I haven't played through the story and half the voices are gone anyway, so who knows how anything is pronounced.
True.
Regardless, she's here, as is
Right
Citlali, which was an interesting choice to put the two of them together, but there are some rumblings about all three games kind of messing around with how they want to do polls. Obviously, Miyabi's banner in ZZZ was different. In this particular case, Jason is pulling for Citlali. That's happening for sure, and you can see from his number of wishes that with the fact that he's already got a lost 50-50 in there, he's guaranteed. Am I pulling the Fire Archon? The answer is no.
And I think that is probably, I don't know. I'm not going to say the right call. People will argue she does an obscene amount of damage, whatever. I'll tell you what, running around playing as her, not impressed. Not impressed. It did not have the kind of like extra utility. I guess if you just want to do tons of damage and you really like the whole motorcycle thing, like, I guess that works. That's cool. That's fun. But like, I've done the story now. I've sort of caught up. This is like the first time I have ever like done like, look, I got Chaska, and let me tell you, I'm at 100% exploration here. If you looked at my entire map, there's literally nowhere else in this entire game that I've 100% explored. But I went hard. I was like, this is fun. I'm enjoying it. Being able to just do this, just this is gaming right here. Okay, it's fun. Even dailies are easier. I just roll on by and just boom, 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 kill people, and that's partially why we're pulling for Citlali. I'll be honest, even in Citlali's trial, the ability to just do this sort of like super jump like this and then just hover around and just sort of like shoot stuff at people. Only in her case, it's like a giant line attack, ice thingy or whatever. Super cool. Love that. Wonderful. Her story, I thought was pretty good, actually. I did her story after the Archon quest. That's fun. That's why we can go in here. We can go into Citlali's house. We can look around.
Whoa.
We can do that. I know. We're here. We're here right now. Look at. You can loot all of her stuff. I can be like, hello. I'm in your chair. What are you going to do? Nothing. I'm going to read all of her anime. Okay?
Yeah. This is my house now.
I do appreciate that there's the one book on there. It's definitely, it's kind of hard to tell. But it's
Princess and the...
Yeah, it's the official. Yeah, she's got the eye up there. Yeah. So she's definitely been reading all the nonsense. But yeah, I kind of went hard on Chaska. It was one of those things where I had pulled like those of you who watched, pulled very well. Got very lucky. So much so that I had enough wishes that I was grinding hard to see if I could trigger the 50-50 again and see if I could get C2 on her. And at the time, I was like, you know what? I'll throw $40 into the game and we'll see what I can get. And I did it. I got her, got C2. And then I was looking at how much content I had not done. And I was like, did I need to spend the $40 to even do that? Could I have done this otherwise? So then I proceeded to make sure I grinded out 40 more and I pulled all of them up to 40 to see, would I have procced like another 50-50? Like, would this have been enough? It was really a time thing. Could I get 40 pulls within that time frame that Chaska's banner was up? And the answer was yes, I could actually. Of course, I did not get another Chaska. I got our beloved Chi-Chi. So if you were to ask me, Jason, is $40 worth a C2 Chaska? I might say yes. To be fair, if I had to pick one 5-star character and I couldn't pick another one in this game, I might pick Chaska. The sheer amount that I enjoy this game, her ability to do kind of any elemental damage, if it's one of the Petch elements, the fact that I could just team her up with 4 stars and probably clear most content. I think she might be one of the most versatile, outside of no healing, characters in this game. I'm loving having her in my party. But if you had asked me, Jason, would you spend $40 for a Chi-Chi? I'd have said, hell no.
What?
No, that's
You sure?
insane. Yeah, no way. So that's a nice little look at the fact that, as much as you can spend money on the game, and even for characters that you like, sometimes you should just put the elbow grease in and just grind it out for the patch that you're playing. Just put the work in, see what you can get, and get there.
Yeah, it turns out that happiness may not always arrive, and that's a good lesson. We don't do a ton of actual whaling in this series. We called it that, and there have been times we absolutely have, between just sheer number of pulls and some actual money being thrown. But this is one of those times where there was some whaling, it just happened off air. But it has now set this up because it's a guaranteed win.
Correct. Yeah. Which, look, it's not a bad thing to get a guarantee. That's fine. Citlali will help my Chaska out. Auroron's doing some good work, but the shred that Citlali gives, melt is arguably a better combination. Especially if I put another pyro in the team. But I like having Farina there, so I don't know if that's going to happen. Point is, it's also good for exploration. You can sort of do a thing in that land where you can fly as Chaska, and then if you have Citlali or Auroron, you kind of float up when you swap, and you can just sort of float a little distance until your swap back comes on, and you go back to Chaska, and you can just be airborne forever. There's no limit. It's beautiful. I can traverse the entirety of Natlan from the atmosphere. There's even a map in one of the other areas that I've explored where they throw you up into the atmosphere. There's a whole nother map up there. It's insane. In fact, you're so high, they won't let you glide. They actually have to make you like fall for a little bit. They're like, no, you can't. What are you doing? So you're too high. Beautiful though. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, we're here. We're grabbing Citlali. Yeah, there we go. It's here. It's happening.
All right. C12 Bennett. Here we go.
I think he's probably so much higher than that. I don't even know what. Oh, I don't have the Dionas though. In fact, I believe when I checked, I don't have C6 Diona or Kachina. I don't have either one. So in theory, I won't be getting a ton of extra wishes in this one here.
I guess the added bonus here is these are two pretty well regarded 5 stars. Obviously, there's a little bit of people with a little bit of issues with both, but both of these were pretty like awaited, and then also people liked Kachina quite a bit. So I mean, I guess it's nice that she's here.
Yeah, and because I don't have Jalonen, if I want to be able to run around and do the Natlan, digging stuff or whatever, having Kachina's not bad. I don't know that I have a team for her currently. There we go. Just because Auroron and Citlali are sort of my what do you want to call it? The Scroll of Cinder City holders, which is what Kachina's the best using her for. But I'm sure it would not be impossible to find a team for her. Ooh.
There he is.
Okay.
More Bennett.
More Bennett. More Kachina. Well, after my Chaska pulls, I'm definitely not expecting amazing things here. I've certainly used up my luck, I'm sure. But
the opposite of Gambler's Ruin.
Yeah.
Gambler's low expectations. So I think this takes you to 77 then?
I said it might. I suppose I could
85 or
single...
95 at the start? I didn't write it down.
85? I was at 85.
So I think that's actually
85.
67.
Okay, we'll put another 10 pull in.
I think.
Okay, we'll probably single pull. Well,
I
every
think
one
it's
of these
good.
Bennett's is...
If Doug's going to say a mean thing about Bennett and you're going to pull him very first thing and then keep seeing him, I think that single pulls are needed.
Yep.
No, because now you're just getting into the whole thing of if you don't 10 pull, how do I not know that you're not going to immediately pull your C6 caching? Come on.
Right, but like,
I need to see this.
If I single pull the next time, I would just get it first off next time, right? Like whenever the next person is. I'll tell you what. What is her? Is there a way to check this? Hold on. There's got to be a way to check this. What is it? There's a way to do this. Character archive, and then I can click her and look at her constellations. What is her first constellation?
Typical Genshin word salad.
Okay. I wouldn't hate if I got this. So basically, it gives her Shenhe quills so that when you do attacks, they do extra ice damage.
I'm sorry.
Basically,
Who?
yeah. So speaking of, Doug, you're gonna have something to do here soon.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because like this entire last month, I've
Oh.
almost entirely stopped playing. That's at least like 100 pulls that I've been able to probably get. And there she is.
Oh,
From the
Hold
Masters
on,
of
I'll
the
let her
Night
talk.
Wind,
okay.
I have read the stars and seen the future through the obscuring smoke. You shall be blessed with good fortune and have the aid of powerful allies during your journey. Allow me to join you.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh.
I can be serious. But stop looking at me like that.
My bad. My bad.
Real granny energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, this entire last month I just kind of stopped playing for a bit. So it's I could have had a lot more pulls going into this, but we'll see.
I think it's good to take breaks.
Certainly, yeah. I told you. I told you.
What?
I think that was 6 Bennett's.
I
I
love
just
it.
how many
love
how many we were so what in the world is this nonsense? That was almost an entire 10 pull of Bennett's, I think.
I love it.
That's insane. Hey, what, Doug? Just for you. Here's the extra 10 pull.
Oh, thank you.
Here's your Bennett's in the trash. I'm gonna get more.
One
I'm
Bennett?
gonna get more, aren't I?
1 Bennett.
Ah,
Yeah,
there
you
it is.
are.
You know what? We did it. We did it the other day. We just pull until we run out. That's what I'm gonna do. Here, we'll pull. We will pull until I'm out of pulls. If they're gonna keep giving me
Well,
Bennett's,
you got 308
Have you done?
Prima Gems.
Have you done this month's?
that I think I have. That would have been right here.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's one.
There we are.
There's your one. Okay, I got 6. So we pull 6 times until I get another Bennett, and then we keep pulling. Okay.
So you're caching. Come on.
Oh man, why would you even put that out there? This is why we can't have you on these streams every time.
Yeah, I don't do this to you.
Watch now, he'll evade me.
Mm-hmm.
What are you afraid? Are you afraid, Bennett? You don't want to give me the extra. You don't want to give me the.
The satisfaction.
He wanted to bless my account so much, and now he just can't show up.
He's tired. He needs a nap.
True.
Which is relatable. Well,
True.
that's very anticlimactic, but
Yeah. But you know what? That's okay, because what we're here to do is to put. Oh, cannot configure it while I'm sitting in her chair.
right.
My bad. My bad. Sorry, kid. You're replaced.
It's been revoked.
I'm never late.
Okay.
As she's
Never
carrying a pillow.
In theory, I think I want her to have TTDS. Where's my highest level on? Okay. I have 2 of them. Look at that. That's cute. Whatever, Yanfei. You don't need anything. She's got a book now, so she can read and give me a huge attack boost. Is what she's here for now.
Which is a benefit because not everybody in this game can read.
True.
For example, I don't think Ito can read.
I would believe that absolutely.
It's just like Ito to catch stray bullets.
Well,
Like, look, I can just fly around, enjoy my life, and then whenever I want, just be like, going around like this. And then whenever Chaska's back up.
This is
Let's
just
go.
the land of flying.
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Whenever I get low on this, we can just pop on right on over. Oh no, Flossed again. Nope. We're just easy riding, everybody. That's all this is. This is how I play Genshin now. Like, I think I could cheat it, because I think I could sit here and do this, and then pop on over.
I'm
I
glad it's
didn't wanna
rekindled
have to
your
move someplace.
interest. My hope was that I was going to find a character that's done that, and I've gone through pretty much all of Natland, and the answer has been nope.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is, I think Genshin overall hasn't super rekindled it. I've enjoyed kind of what they've done so far, and I've enjoyed some of like Chaska in particular, but like I don't know. Whew, I didn't fall into a pipe and never get out. Um, Chaska's great, but like I look ahead at what they're doing with Genshin, and I don't I don't know. I don't know that I'm excited for it. They're gonna futz around in not Snezhnaya. They've basically said that we're going to nod cry or nod cray. It's supposed to be some sort of like neutral area that is Snezhnaya but isn't Snezhnaya. And I'm like, okay, so we're padding. We're padding now. We're getting into the filler episodes. But it's gonna be a filler arc. And I imagine it'll do some stuff here in Natlan. There are certainly, I mean, I won't say anything because some of you haven't played this, but like there are certain elements to the main story arc that haven't been resolved. A lot is resolved for sure. The main arc is, but some of the things that are usually resolved by the end of one of these story
I'm a little
arcs
out of practice these days.
haven't been. So like I'm sure they have a plan, and that's all good and fun. But like these banners they're not it. Like they can't keep putting the both new characters. It doesn't hurt me per se because like I'm not super excited about Mavuika. But if you were a Mavuika player, you want to know who one of our best in slots are? Citlali. So I hope you saved plenty because they're both here. Like that's dirty, frankly. That's a little dirty in my opinion. Um, and the fact that Doug's going to be pulling Shenhe when I mean, no offense, I'm glad you can pull her, but like she should not be on the banner that they're going to put her on. They made rules, presumably so people could plan and be like, okay, well, there's no way they would put her on the Chronicled Wish. She doesn't meet the requirements for or whatever it's called. And then they're like, yeah, we realized that was dumb, so we just decided to put her on her anyway. And it's like, well, okay, well, I guess fuck me if I was planning around that not being an option because you told us that wasn't an option. So like, it reeks of like they don't really have a plan or they're afraid to make a plan. Like, just put more banners on here. Why don't we have a third banner in here already so we can get through these reruns? Why are you doing it in the Chronicled Wish banner? Why are you breaking your own rules in Chronicled Wish because you couldn't get a character to rerun soon enough? The only one stopping you is you. Just do it. Put them on a fucking banner and do it. Like, I hope ZZZ doesn't get there. I know that a lot of what's good with ZZZ right now is that it's like a soft reset. They gave out Haramasa for free, so they had no reason not to just put both banners up for 30 days, which gave people plenty of time to pull for Miyabi. Instead of doing what this is, which is like enjoy your 20 days with your brand new Archon, and also good luck trying to pull her best in slot too. Like, that's just dirty. I don't really like that. But even Star Rail is starting to do a little, they have this huge banner coming out, which would be great if you had tons of savings or you needed exactly one of those characters. But it's only great if they keep doing that, if they keep putting out huge banners. If all they do is put out a giant banner every once in a blue moon and they go back to just slim pickings, then it doesn't help anybody. No one can save appropriately. How are you supposed to save for these characters when they come out, they release with 2 other characters that you were saving up for because they decided to just randomly release like 4 characters on a banner or 5? Like, I don't know. I hope they can get their shit together because for Genshin and Star Rail, I feel like it's a real rough start to this new year, whereas I have not felt that way in ZZZ.
Well, the difficulty with ZZZ, and to be clear, you're right that they have not fallen into that trap yet. It's also so early that it's too. I can't really give them the benefit of the doubt either, because a year from now they may run into the same fucking trap that Hoyo's done with these 2 games. I'm not saying that we can't hold it against them until they do, but it's so early in ZZZ that it's like they haven't even done a rerun banner yet, so we don't know how they're going to handle any of this shit.
Nope, I agree. Totally agree.
Now, as far as these 2 games go, we've talked about our issues with Genshin quite a bit. Obviously, I have fallen way off. Doug has just taken a month break. He's finally going to get his goddamn Shenhe. But between the 4-star issues that we've ranted about in multiple videos, I keep putting it in there not to bore people, but to somehow put it in the universe. Update the fucking 4 stars. It's not hard. it's kind of the same idea with what Jason was saying with like, oh, well, it's hard to get all these characters into 2 banners. Well, then stop having 2 banners. Like, it's not fucking rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confused
Yeah,
because it feels like to me, and I'm somebody who's still playing all 3 Hoyo games, even though I've lapsed a bit on Genshin. I still really like Star Rail. It's my favorite. ZZZ's risen up to number 2. But there's a little bit of this where I'm like, you created competition against yourself by having all 3 of these games at once. They fill different slots, and I'm not saying they're direct competition, but nonetheless, it's still pulling people's focus. You've been riding high with Genshin for going on 3.5 years now. At some point, there is a reckoning coming. You can't just ride your coattails forever. I feel like if this doesn't improve sometime in 2025, we're going to start seeing a reckoning for Genshin Impact.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Perhaps Hoyoverse as a total.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to happen. I feel like they're too big and they do a lot right, frankly. But Genshin in particular, and like again, I actually think I enjoy playing Genshin a bit more than Star Rail right now. But like Genshin is so far behind. There's so many quality of life things that they have just struggled to include in their game. They cannot keep up. They're still stingy on how many extra wishes and everything else that they give you. In every single metric for like just enjoyment of the game, of being able to log in every day, get through it nice and quick, they suck. They suck. They suck. Just factually, like whether it's trying to just build items for a character, knowing what I need to build, farming those things easily from like single menus. ZZZ blows both games out of the water, but especially Genshin. Especially Genshin. Genshin's super bad at this. So then when you factor in just these banners and like how many characters Genshin has and how hard it's making them to get any of them.
Like, why in the year of our Lord 2025 do we still have things restricted to days of the week? Why?
Yeah.
Like, I know the most recent patch did finally put in the thing where the bosses respawn more quickly. That's appreciated. There have been quality of life improvements, but like you said, it feels like there are so many that are needed that have been introduced in their own other games where you just look at this and you're like, what are we doing?
Yeah. In ZZZ, if I want to farm something, I literally like go to one of 2 places. You go to Scott Outpost or the HIA, depending on like what you want to do. And that's literally opening up a menu and teleporting someplace. It is that easy. You don't even have to like open up the transportation menu. You can just open up the training menu, pick whichever one of those things you wanted to do. And God forbid you were working on a particular character. And I don't know. Wow, did they need scrolls of conflict?
I've read almost every novel.
Quiet. Like, which ones do I need? Is it the teachings of kindling? You just click the character now in ZZZ. You're like, yeah, I wanted to work on this. And you know what you do? It'll put their little face next to whatever the hell you need to work on. Oh, do you still need money to be able to max everything out to the level that you set it to max out? It'll tell you to go farm the money. Oh, do you still need elemental thingies or whatever? It'll tell you to go farm those. Oh, which boss mats was it? Oh, their little face is right by that. It's so easy. I'm not gonna say it like plays itself because it doesn't. You still got to run in there and kill those bosses and do everything. In many ways, it's more active than some of these other games. But like, just getting into the part that's fun is so much easier in ZZZ. Whereas in Genshin, I still got to fucking struggle all the goddamn time. And that sucks, because like Genshin can be fun. Their storytelling can be fun, but like they I don't know. They don't want to get us there for some reason. They want us to work for the fun. And I don't know why. At some point people are going to get tired of it, I think.
I've seen it posted in a lot of places where it's like, well, they'd have to keep doing that to keep people coming back. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need days of the week drops to keep people coming back. If anything, I think it's going to be a deterrent rather than it is going to be something that returns them. And again, the other games have them as examples. The blueprint is there. In the beginning, especially when the world wasn't as big and there weren't other competition as much, I understood. But at this stage of the game, I gotta be honest, I have no interest in farming the artifacts in this game anymore. None. Zero.
Yeah.
Because both the other 2 games do it so much better. So it's like, it's tough for me, because even when I do find a character that I'm finally going to deploy all these wishes on, which is not going to be Mavuika, what am I going to have to do to build them? All my artifacts are from like 10 years ago, so I'm going to have to go grind something forever. I'm frustrated because I
Yeah.
still like Genshin Impact. I still think it's really good. But for me as an individual, I'm having a hard time with it right now.
No, I absolutely agree. I've been going through the story. I don't hate the story. I think it's fine. I It's enjoyable for what it is. They're doing something different. I think I prefer Fontaine better, and probably Sumeru better. They were going for something a bit more, I don't know, big, bombastic, heroic kind of thing. If anything, it sort of feels like maybe what we'll see in Star Rail, where we went from this sort of noir mystery and Penacony to they've specifically talked about doing like the heroic journey in uh it's got a name. It's not anathema. Something or other. Whatever this new realm is that we're going to. So like there's a bit of a turn in how they are doing the story in that land, and there are emotional parts. There are things that I cared about, but I'll be honest, a lot of them weren't like about the Archon. Weren't like there were individual characters, individual bits that I latched onto and that I enjoyed. Maybe Natland just wasn't necessarily as geared for me as like Fontaine or Sumeru were. That's fine. So I won't begrudge them. I think that they succeeded in smaller areas that convinced me that it was worth my time. I enjoyed it, but they've got to start doing some more. They've got to start getting me through that story. Like I don't know, man. Like we get to like she's talking about Yai Publishing House. She really likes books, guys. Like she really likes the weeb stuff. Like Beetle Battle. This will probably be fun. You know why? Because Beetle Battles are stupid and pointless and fun. I'd like more of this and not like whatever the other one. They had another one that I never did, and it was just like I think it was like go kill enemies or do something like that. Every time they do things like that, I'll be honest, I check out in so many ways. I mean, I get it. Not every event can be a banger. But, I enjoy just doing the puzzles in ZZZ. They just give you like a little puzzle to put together. They just had an event where you basically do a tower defense with Bangbu. That was fun. Their new permanent event, again, permanent events couldn't be Genshin at all. Did you miss an event? Too bad. It's in the trash. I hope you enjoy YouTube because you're never going to be able to do it. At least the other games will let you replay it for the story, even if you don't get all the extra like special items in it. Like in ZZZ, they just did the one for the Pale Wasteland or whatever. You get an item out of it, and you get a bunch of little fun character interactions with the Section 6 people that you just met and you just did the big story with, and like that's just fun. Like ZZZ seems to have really mastered the art of sort of weaving their story that you have fun doing when you sit down to do the story, and then weaving those fun little moments. The Bangbu one, for example, starts hinting at like possible groups or people we might meet in the future story and things like that. Like they're weaving these events that are entertaining on themselves in with the story, and if it's an important event with a lot of story, you can replay it anytime you want. No big deal. Whereas like this Beetle Battle will probably be fun, but it's also going to have fuck all anything to do with anything. This Beetle storyline, I haven't done it, but I can already tell you now it has to do with this Beetle. This Beetle was in the last Beetle Adventure storyline. Honestly, there's a whole separate storyline going on with Ito and getting Beetle battles going all over Teyvat. And now I think Cloud Retainers got involved and it started making super beetles to battle because she enjoyed watching it happen last time or whatever. Like there's almost more story going on in these Beetle battles than some of the other stuff in all over the rest of this game. I don't know. It feels so sort of weirdly lopsided and like unfocused in a way where I feel like ZZZ has like a dead set focus on what they want. And Star Rail, I also feel like they probably have a focus. I don't know if I vibe with their focus sometimes because they really play up the Trash Panda vibe a lot. Like it's all kind of memey a lot, but I don't know, when they nail it, they nail it.
Luckily,
I don't know.
they're scaling that one back a bit, which is nice. I mean, I thought the event before the last one, I know a lot of people didn't love, having a bunch of banana time. Which, I mean, even though I was interested in Rappa, I wasn't super sold on that event either. But the one prior to that with Facia was one of my favorites in the game. So it's like they're still riding hot pretty much. The last thing I will say is this. This is no longer an upstart company. This is no longer a surprise hit. Like, the time for that has passed. So for me, I'm a lot less forgiving nowadays than I was 3 years ago, where it was like, oh my god, like they're expanding so quickly, they got revenue coming in they never saw. Like You can't use that as an excuse anymore. This is not a quote unquote small indie company, which is a thing that gets thrown out there derisively a lot. So I'm like, there are certain things I look for as a player that are different than other players, and that's okay. Like Jason said, some of these events vibe with me in all three of these games, some don't. It's the overall time that the player has to devote that I think Star Rail and ZZZ do light years better than Genshin that I'm having the hardest time with.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I learned was that I could just grind. Basically, I've actually, which almost sucks.
Let's burn this.
If I grind for artifacts and I just do it 4 times, and then I do the condensed resin, those count as my dailies, and that's like the easiest way that I found to just get the dailies in Genshin out of the way. Which, on the one hand, hey, that's cool. Like, you let us go around and you let us, just kind of do our grind and then we can log off. Okay, cool. But, like, why don't you just have easy dailies? Like, what's the deal? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy for that. But I don't feel like we should be looking for alternatives to playing their game. They should be putting dailies in here that we want to log in and play. Or they're so out of the way, it doesn't matter. Sure, whatever. Yeah, you want me to grab some coffee and do a scratch ticket and click some menus on my video store? Down, easy. I can do that.
Let's burn this breeze.
Well,
But like Genshin, like what? I got to run around, blow up some towers, talk to a guy. You know what I mean? Like,
I was gonna say 75 lines of dialogue in the daily. Like, yeah. So I'd be interested to hear from people in the comments. You know, how are you vibing with the 3 games? If you play all 3 of them, or just whichever ones you do. Because again, it's not really my intent to be so negative about it. I'm still a Genshin fan. It has not been a fun few months for me, and we usually leave these off looking ahead for what's next. Well, Jason has 0 pulls at the moment. Doug, of course, is finally going to get his Shenhe pulls off here in a little bit, which is great. We don't have to keep laughing at the poor guy. What am I going to pull on next? I have no fucking clue. And it might be O for Natlan, which is very confusing to me. So we'll have to see what's next as far as Genshin goes. Again, we'll have a video coming up pretty soon where Doug will unload what he's got on Shenhe, which that should be fun because he's been saving for a while. But me with 240 pulls is sitting here going shoulder shrug, which is not how I expected to start 2025 in Genshin.
yeah, no, I agree. And the thing we didn't even touch on is that, like, they're giving away a bunch of free polls literally the day after the Mavuika banner pops up.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks.
It was a weird choice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird choice, but that's the one that they have decided to make for their players.
All right. Any closing thoughts before we shut up shop?
Everybody, pull Chaska whenever she reruns. There you go. That's what I got. You ever said to yourself, what if I could just, like, do a take damage? Hell nah. That's not what we're about. Kill a capybara. We're not gonna kill a capybara.
No, Capybara's done nothing wrong.
No. They've done nothing wrong. That's not what we're here for. But yeah, look, as evidenced by, like I've said, me exploring the map, me doing the story, all that stuff, I have found things to enjoy in Genshin. I know we've been rather negative here. We're not, like, totally turned off by the game or whatever. I see it lagging behind in ways that I see, like, ZZZ thriving. ZZZ is easily my favorite one of all their games right now. It's the one I will be sticking with. If I'm going to be paying their little monthly whatever for the Wilken Moon equivalent, it's probably just going to be ZZZ, at least for a little while. I see them doing things in ZZZ that I would reward the other games for doing, but they're not doing it yet. And that sucks because there's a lot of good in Genshin, and I'd like to keep playing it, but they gotta. I don't know, man. They gotta put in some of that effort. They can't just keep free riding on how big the game is.
And maybe
not,
maybe ignorance is bliss. Maybe if you're just a Genshin player and you haven't dabbled with the other 2 titles that have come out over the last couple of years, I mean, the game hasn't really changed that much. A few quality of life upgrades have come in, and you don't know, maybe directly at least, what the other games are doing, so it doesn't feel so bad. But for the people that have diversified across the Hoyo games, and I'm sure this is probably true of some folks with Honkai 3rd as well, that's when, like, the cracks start to show. So I guess we'll see. That's just a random pull thing that turned into a half a podcast like these do sometimes, where we're hoping to put something out there in the universe that will be returned to us. I don't know if that's going to be the case. There hasn't been any indication it's going to be, but we're only, as of recording, 5 days into 2025. There's still a long way to go.
I mean, yeah, let us know if you're watching this, you stuck around that long. Let us know what you are looking forward to or what changes you'd like to see in Genshin, Star Rail, ZZZ going forward. Like, what would keep you going playing the games into 2026? What's your wish list? You know, what's your New Year's your Genshin resolution? What do you want to see them do going forward? I'd like to see them clean up their banners. Frankly, I'd like to see some improvements to their events. Let us replay events. Honestly, that'd be a big one. You know,
right? And people are like, it's too unwieldy. Well, because especially for mobile, it's like then just let them do them and like select one and download it.
Yep.
You don't have to
Select
give them
one,
all
download it.
37 events at once. Just let people pick and choose and then remove them when they're done.
Yeah, ZZZ has recently started letting people offload stuff so that their download is smaller. Like these are things that they can do in studio or whatever. Like go ask the ZZZ guys. Go walk 2 doors down. Ask them how they did it. Like there's no excuse. Like just do it. Yeah.
You know, the beautiful thing about being able to replay all of the old content is they probably still have lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, fucking fix that. Like even in ZZZ, apparently they were just scheduling issues, is what I've heard. But like, it does suck. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad. But like, oh boy, Genshin is getting surprisingly rough. Thankfully, it's some characters I don't really care about. But like, holy cow.
Nothing breaks my immersion quicker. And I know people
Yep.
are like, we'll switch to Japanese or something. Not for me. If that works
Nope.
for you as a substitute, cool. Good on you. Absolutely not. Not for me.
Yeah. No, I shouldn't have to adjust how my play experience is because they cannot get their shit together, whether it is scheduling or working with the right studios. Like I'm sorry, like I started this game playing in English. There's no reason for my language to get dropped. That's an insane thing.
Yep, and I
Like,
know
no,
there's a
get outta
strike.
here.
We get it. There's a lot of things out of their control. So it's not to be too harsh on that one specific thing, but it's just sort of like emblematic of overall. And this is all true in all 3 games, by the way. The localization has also started to show cracks. If it's not a main event, all 3 games have had really bad scripting typos, grammar issues, and it's like, you guys are way too big to be half-assing this stuff. There is no excuse.
Yeah.
Like,
I
Miyabi
absolutely
talks
agree.
like a completely different person in some of those side events she's got going on. She's the biggest character they're going to put out for quite some time. And so it's like, it's all 3 games on that one, and that one's very confusing to me as well. I know I get bothered by that more than most because of my job and all that stuff. I know some people aren't put off by that, but for me, seeing these things that are clearly in like half Korean, half English is a huge turnoff.
Yep. Even I bump into them. I just sort of shake my head and go, I think I know what you were saying here. Like,
Yeah.
but man, like, ooh, that's rough. You know what I mean?
So we're all devoted fans. Me and Jason play all 3 of these. Doug is mostly Genshin. Have you dabbled in Star Rail? I forget.
I've got accounts in all of them.
Yeah.
It's just,
Doug's maybe put in. Well,
It's-
Jason's probably put in the most as far as money goes. But Doug and Jason have more like financial stake in this. I've paid a total of $10 for these 3 games. So it's also why it's tough for me to complain too much. But honestly, it's because I want the best for these. I want these to last 5, 10 more years. And I don't know that that's currently going to happen when the supernova of gacha games, especially as more and more rivals spring up, even if they're not as good as these, it's just further and further fraying the market. I just feel like eventually Hoyo's got to realize that they're heading down a bad path.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you for joining our dissertation. We'll be back
Yep.
with more pulling videos when the time arises. That again means Shenhe coming up. As far as Star Rail and ZZZ, I don't know. I have enough pulls to pull on any of the 3 games right now, but I don't know what's next. But you know how it works. You can like and subscribe. We don't usually plug, but at the end of a 40-minute video, I feel like I've earned it. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, it's the best way to see future videos. And of course, you could also hit the bell if you give a shit about notifications. I don't, but hey, it could help the channel, and it'll let you know the next time that we're whaling. Say goodbye to the nice people, everybody.
Goodbye, nice people.
Goodbye to the nice people, everybody.